Hey guys, welcome back to Retrospect. Today I'm going to be showing you my process for working on a slightly larger painting. This painting is on a 14 by 14 inch wood panel, which is, I have to say, much larger than I'm used to working on. My usual size is maybe an 8 by 8 or a 10 by 10, but I am deciding to branch out. I just think the larger size is going to be a bit more impactful for what I'm after. And it's almost the largest I can fit on my desk here, and that's pretty much the only space I have to work on paintings, so that kind of restricts how big I go as well. Alright, so I'm just starting in doing all the line work. I'm using a technical pencil just because it's what I have to hand. Any pencil will work, but this one's got sort of harder lead than like a 2B or something. And I'm just tracing out all the lines. I like to use a ruler, especially for these designs lately, because they have a lot of flat edges that need to be really precise. I like to flip the paper up a couple times just to make sure that I've gotten all the areas. Sometimes I'll find I've missed drawing like the pupil of an eye or a connecting line here or whatever, so it's good to just compare it to the original image to double check. Though inevitably I do find that I miss something anyways, but usually it's not that hard to correct. Now I'm going to get into the painting, and with paintings like these I like to do it color by color instead of section by section usually. So I decided to start with orange, and it took me a few tries to mix up the orange that I wanted for this one, and then even after I had painted it all, off camera I decided I didn't quite like the shade of orange, so I mixed up a slightly darker one and just went over the orange bits a little bit so that they were a bit darker. You'll see that I'm trying to use my flooding technique again for these pieces. Anytime I find that I'm painting something with larger area, I like to make the paint kind of liquidy and spread it on the area kind of like royal icing on a cookie. This just helps it dry to a smoother, more flat finish as opposed to something that's kind of ridgy with brush strokes. It doesn't always work out. Sometimes the consistency of the paint is too runny or too clumpy, and then you get bumps anyways. So for me it's not a perfect art. I'm using a couple different brushes, but due to the size and shapes of most of the images I'm painting, I'm going to stick with my golden Taklon brush and my Winsor Newton Cotman brush. Those are the smaller ones. All of my supplies will be listed below. I decided for this video not to film every single second of painting, mostly because as this is a larger painting, it did take me quite a long time to paint it all. The footage that I did shoot amounted to around 2.5 hours, and that's not even filming everything, so it's quite a time-consuming process. And I found I had a bit of a hard time making myself want to finish this painting. I got to the end where I was going to do all the leaves, and it just took me a couple days to make myself sit back down at the table and work on it. Which, you know, it happens sometimes. Sometimes you just need a little bit of a break. And as always when I'm painting, I like to have a bit of a piece of paper. This time it happens to be a receipt. It's just a scrap of paper, whatever happens to be lying around that is clean. I like to have that beside my painting area so that I can rest my hand on it and not smudge my hand across all the pencil lines or the finished painting, because that can make it kind of dirty and smudgy looking, and that is obviously not what you want. The only thing is you have to remember where you have wet paint and not put the paper in the wet paint and then ruin all that hard work you just did. I have done that before and it was not enjoyable. Usually for paintings like this, I'll mix the color that I want in one of those little plastic pots. That way that if I need to come back and retouch something, I have the color there pre-mixed and it won't dry out because the pot has a lid. But since this spot here, which is a Pokemon Gengar, it's his eye, I thought that I wouldn't really need to use this color again, so I just mixed it up quickly on this little sour cream container lid. I also find that certain paints have different consistencies. It differs from brand to brand, but even within the same brand, different colors have different flows and opacities. So this red color is a bit more translucent than, say, that blue color beside it. So I had to really work with it to build it up and get a nice smooth surface. But it does offer a nice bright pop, which I find very enjoyable to look at. So that's all I'm going to show you for this video. The second part will be coming up later. It will have the rest of the painting and the completed product at the end. Thank you guys for watching, and I'm sorry for the long absence between this video and the one before it. I hope to be back on the swing of things moving forward. So I hope you guys have a good week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!